In the previous video, when we talked about Herodotus, we saw how geography first began. It was mainly descriptive. People talked about places they had visited, the people they met, and the environments they saw. Geography, at that stage, was about telling stories of the world as it was experienced. But after Herodotus, a basic question still remained unanswered. That question was simple. What exactly is the Earth? Not just which people live where, but what kind of thing the Earth itself is. What is its shape? How is it placed in the universe? And where do humans fit on it? This is where Plato becomes important in the history of geographical thought. Plato was not a geographer in the modern sense. He never wrote a book called Geography, but his ideas changed the way people thought about the Earth. Before Plato, geography was mostly about places. With Plato, people began to think seriously about the Earth as a whole planet. Plato believed that the Earth should not be studied on its own. For him, the Earth was part of a much larger system, the universe. He thought that to understand the Earth properly, we first need to understand how the universe itself is ordered. One of Plato's most important ideas for geography is his belief that the Earth is round, or spherical. This raises an obvious question. Why did Plato think the Earth was round? Plato did not reach this idea by measuring shadows or distances. His reasoning was mainly philosophical, not experimental. He believed that the universe was based on order, balance, and harmony. For Plato, the most perfect shape was the sphere. A sphere has no corners or edges and looks the same from every direction. He believed that nature, especially the cosmos, would favor such a perfect shape. Plato also believed that the Earth was located at the center of the universe. In his view, something placed at the center would naturally be balanced equally in all directions. A spherical shape, therefore, made the most sense for the Earth. So Plato did not try to prove that the Earth was round. Instead, he argued that the Earth ought to be round because that was the most reasonable shape in an ordered universe. This is important because Plato makes the idea of a round Earth thinkable and acceptable long before anyone tries to prove it scientifically. Plato also makes an interesting point about how much of the Earth humans actually know. He suggests that people live only on a small part of the Earth's surface. In one place, he compares humans to frogs living around a pond, unaware of the vast world beyond it. What he means is simple. Humans know only a small portion of the Earth, not the whole planet. This idea quietly changes geography. It tells us that the known world is not the same as the entire Earth. Geography, therefore, is always about the part of the world humans know, not everything that exists. This way of thinking later helped geographers imagine unknown lands beyond familiar regions. Plato also talks about differences across the Earth's surface. In the Timaeus, he connects the Earth's shape, its position in space, and the movement of the sun with differences in heat and climate. Although his discussion is philosophical, it introduces the idea that different parts of the Earth experience different environmental conditions. This is an early step toward thinking about climate zones. Plato does not measure these zones, but he helps people think about them in a structured way, as patterns linked to the Earth's form and its relationship with the sun. Another important contribution of Plato is his emphasis on mathematics and geometry. Plato believed that the world could be understood through numbers, shapes, and order. This belief strongly influenced later thinkers. It created an intellectual climate where measuring the Earth, mapping it, and representing it geometrically made sense. Plato himself did not measure distances or draw maps, but he made such activities meaningful. He gave people a reason to believe that the Earth could be studied systematically, not just described. At the same time, Plato's geography has clear limits. His ideas are based more on reasoning than observation. He was more interested in how the Earth should be understood in theory than how it appears in practice. But this was his role in the history of geography. Plato's task was not to measure the Earth, but to change the way people think about it. If Herodotus represents geography as knowledge gained through travel and experience, Plato represents geography as knowledge gained through thinking and reasoning. He shifts attention from individual places to the earth as a whole. This is why Plato fits naturally between Herodotus and Aristotle. Herodotus describes the world as peoples. So if Herodotus shows us geography as something people learn by traveling and observing, Plato shows us geography as something people begin to think about at the level of the whole earth. He doesn't measure the planet or draw maps, but he changes the way people imagine the earth itself. This is why Plato fits naturally between Herodotus and Aristotle. Herodotus describes the world as people saw it. Plato asks what kind of world it is. In the next video, we will move to Aristotle, who takes Plato's ideas and connects them more directly to nature, observation, and physical explanation. With Aristotle, geography starts to look less like philosophy and more like a science. Thank you for watching. If you find this series useful for understanding geographical thought, you may consider subscribing to the channel.